Hey guys, this is Joshua Seth, voice of Tai on Digimon, and you're listening to Anime Secrets.
Toku Secrets is a podcast run by the Anime Secrets website. Check us out at animesecrets.org for more anime, video game, tokusatsu content. Remember to follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or wherever you listen to podcasts today.
Oh yes, this is Goldar, and you're listening to Toku Secrets Podcast. Don't tune us out, tune us in.
Welcome to Toku Secrets. Join us as we journey into the marvelous world of Super Sentai, Kamen Rider, Power Rangers, and many other tokusatsu. Get ready for the adventure of a lifetime. It's Morphin time! Link to the Morphin Course. I'm Nathan Desai, the dazzling adventurer, Spoken Silver.
I'm Patrick Allen, I'm Shinken Red.
And I'm Ridwan Merchant, Gokai Red.
And I'm Anthony Davis, also known as Curie Green. And we're Toku Secrets.
What's going on, everyone? This is the Toku Secrets Podcast, presented by AnimeSecrets.org. And today, after taking a brief detour from a Bakuage Sentai Go-Onger, we are returning to the current Sentai that we're taking a look at. That is Engine Sentai Go-Onger. We're doing podcast number 5, which in this case, we're taking a look at GPs 21 through 25. Got the whole crew on again today. Definitely have a lot of fun stuff to talk about this time, because when we are done with this podcast, we will officially be at the halfway point of Go-Onger, which means that we will be updating our tier rankings for the Rangers, but we'll get to that at the end. A lot of stuff happened last time, so let's go over the brief recap. We got a new villain, another Gaiarc who's a subordinate to Yogostein. His name is Hiramechimedes, or Mechimedes if you talk to Patrick, or Archimedes if you talk with Rizwan. Yeah, the show likes to make fun of how difficult this guy's name is to pronounce.
Mecha high, Mecha hiney hole for me.
Yeah. But yeah, he joined the Gaiarc as a general, and he's a very skilled tactician. But when he appeared, there were 2 other engines of the wing race, ones that are born with the ability to fly. Gold Chicken Helicopter, engine number 7, Torifter, and a Silver Tiger Fighter Jet, engine number 8, Jetros. They and the wing race engines partners were revealed to be Hiroto and Miu Suto. They are 2 wealthy siblings who found these 2 engines when they crashed in the human world, and they underwent some harsh training in the machine world. And they eventually became Rangers themselves. Go on Wings. Hiroto is Go on Gold. And Toripter's partner, Miu, is Go on Silver. Jetros' partner. And they're master fighters, and they're able to naturally sense the Gaiarc, but they're also kind of a little arrogant and no nonsense, and they look at the Go-Ongers as inferior. Now, by this point, they do kind of admire their spirits and work with them in a sort of friendly rivalry type of way. And shortly after the Go on Wings appeared, engine number 9, Jumbo Whale, he's a navy-colored whale jumbo jet engine, showed up. He's the leader of the wing race. He was Hiroto and Miu's instructor, and can also combine with Toripter and Jetros to form the Go on Wings' personal mech, Seikuu-Oh. And that brings us to where we are now. We're going to start with GP 21, Childish Guys, which is a filler episode that's, I guess you could call team-centric, because I don't think anybody specifically steals the focus here. But this is mostly an episode where Jumbo Whale is trying to bring the Go-Ongers and Go on Wings together and give the Go-Ongers some training, which has some mixed results. A couple of things. Jumbo Whale is the one who's revealed to have created Bomper, and he actually had a more colorful design for Bomper originally, which was kind of cute. And at the end of this episode, which kind of leads into what's going to happen in the next episode, the 3 Gaiarc generals all turn on Hiramechimedes. Although that turns out to be part of a ruse, but we'll get to that a little bit later. And a fun fact, this is apparently the 16th 1600th episode overall of the Super Sentai franchise. So that's pretty cool. What do we think about this one, guys?
In short, I forgot how cool Jumbo Whale was. Like, legitimately. Because the wings have been overly harsh on the Go-Ongers, and I mean, they have their fair reasons for doing so, but the fact that Jumbo Whale comes in is like, they're not as bad as you think they are. They have their strong suits. And it bleeds into, like, the next couple of episodes, but Jumbo Whale is such a breath of fresh air with the wings because he's like their voice of reason. And I love that about him.
He's a really great mentor, to be honest. He's the mentor we didn't deserve.
Yeah.
I mean, beyond that, the Bomper storyline. So I watched this one well before I watched the Boom Boons, their episodes that we just did a podcast on that released at the time of this recording yesterday. But I couldn't help but feel a little bit of like similarity between Bomper and Boom Boon with how they're both soon to be, like created by some entity that's alien and part of something grander than what they understood. On one hand, Boon Boon's kind of made from work for evil, but Bomper's known to be working for the good. So that is a difference. But to me, it was just kind of an interesting parallel that we see between the two seasons. It doesn't hold up as well for similarity, but to me, it's just a cool little thing,
On top of the fact that both of them are homies.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Boom Boons, your writers, can we get an episode where Boondorio and Bomper hang out? Please?
Can we get an episode with Bomper, Boondario, and Boondy?
That would be
cool.
And
a buddy
can
cop
they all
episode?
And can they hang out with Navi from Gokai?
Yeah, that could work.
Because look, Navi might be perceived as annoying by some people, but he's still such a bro. He's just misunderstood. Nobody understands him. Nobody wants to understand him.
Yep.
Yeah. So my thoughts on the episode, I really did enjoy this one. It makes me curious that because we saw how Jumbo Whale is around, the teams and stuff, but I was kind of curious, like if they were going through very harsh training, how was he in Machine World as compared to how he was with the Go-Ongers, like.
I mean, it's possible that maybe he took on a slightly, I don't know, maybe he had a harsher take with Hiroto and Mew, but he kind of realizes that the Go-Ongers are not like them, so he takes a more softer approach. Like maybe he's just one of those types of mentors.
I mean, speaking into my my psychology degree, yeah, a good mentor and a good teacher understands that not everybody needs to be taught the same way. Hiroto and Mew are a lot more strict. The Go-Ongers are a little bit more, I guess, free-willed. So you have to approach them differently. Free-willed, stupid. It kind of goes in back and forth. But a good mentor understands that everybody needs to be taught differently. So,
and you see evidence of that in it's kind of a build up over the next couple of episodes, I think. But you're gonna see Jumbo Whale. He pushes the wings to learn stuff in a different way than he teaches the Go-Ongers to learn stuff. And it's complimentary how he does it, which feeds into Patrick's psychology mumbo jumbo, which is all 100% valid because I've studied the same thing. It makes sense. So, Jumbo Whale has all the marks of a good mentor in this aspect in terms of teaching.
Yeah.
And already compared to his...
Go ahead, Patrick.
I was saying, and already compared to the other engine we have with no Ranger counterpart, he's just... This is what I wanted Corrugator to be.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
I was too.
Jumbo Whale was only been here for... I mean, this is technically his third episode if you count him appearing for 2 seconds at the end 2 episodes ago, but he's only been here for like 2 episodes, and he's already had more of an impact than Corrugator has this entire time.
Mhm.
Okay, can
I
we
feel
also?
like he's only there just to be the combination for the fourth and
Yeah.
fifth Go-Onger.
Yeah.
He is. And can I also mention that at this point we're at what 21 episodes in?
Mm-hmm.
Corrugator has had roughly 15 episodes to kind of bake, but Jumbo Whale's had more dialogue in 2 episodes, and he's had in 15.
Mhm.
So that in itself is kind of sad because this goes back to my thing from earlier. Corrugator is just not a well written character, if you can even call him that. Like,
and the real sad part is that he probably is the worst written engine because we still have 3 more engines to go and none of them have speaking lines. So the Corrugator's is about as bad as it
do what you
gets.
will. Right.
Yeah, do with that
Maybe
what you
one
will.
thing if he couldn't talk, and then like you're like, okay, that makes sense. He's not going to be able to communicate with
Right.
them, but he talks. That's the bad part about it.
I mean, if you had written the rule into the Go-Onger universe that for an engine to talk, they must have a human partner, that would have made sense. But that's not a rule. That's not a thing.
Nope.
Corrugator is just poorly written, and quite honestly, he's just there to sell toys.
That's literally what he is.
I'm going to make a bizarre suggestion, and I think Corrugator would have been helped out a lot if they did introduce a 6th core Go-Onger, Go-Orange, to go with him.
But
because Jumbo Whale has proven that he can work well without a Ranger counterpart, but Corrugator, it would have given him more time to, because all the other engines like sit around and talk with their Ranger partners, but he doesn't get that because he doesn't have a partner.
Mm-hmm.
But Jumbo Whale doesn't need it either because he can talk to all 7 of them. So Corrugator could float around and do something sage-like or
something. But I feel like they pre-planned that with Jumbo Whale.
Yeah, but also like imagine like if Corrugator was, I don't know, a hooligan. He ran around, got into trouble, and then the Go-Ongers had to bail him out of trouble. That would have been a way for him to interact with the group, you know?
Yeah. He's definitely a missed opportunity. There are ways they could have improved him, but it is what it is at this point.
And they make him such a big deal in the debut episode, calling him like part of the Gaiarc race, which doesn't really amount to anything.
Oh, what did he do?
Yeah, he was his own race of engine. They made like a big deal about it, and then they just kind of did nothing with it.
Yeah,
you know that's a proven point because I forgot that's even a thing that happened.
Yeah, but I mean,
I don't remember because like that was literally his thing. I had to look it up online. I was like, oh, because it was an episode explained that he was part of this race called the Gaiarc race. That's GIAN. Yeah, and that was his whole thing.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, out of the 9 that have a personality in the season, only having one that's kind of whatever is pretty good because this season's balancing a lot of characters.
Yeah, it is.
So,
but I will say this for Nathan because I know Nathan won't say it right now. They're balancing it better than Kia Ranger did.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Oh yeah, I someone who's watched the entire season, yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah.
What do we want to give a 21 out of 10, guys?
9, just because I like Jumbo Whale.
9.
Yeah, I think 9 is good.
I was thinking 8.5, but I think I'll succumb to peer pressure and go with a 9.
Okay, cool.
Get it because it's 9. Because
All right. Anyway, let's move on to 22. Last Wish, which is we get a new mech formation debut here, and it's also part of a 2-parter with Hiramechimedes, where he sets up a trap for the Go-On Wings. And while this is happening, Jumbo Whale is trying to push the Go-On Wings to learn, more from the Go-Ongers. And this actually results in kind of it's a very unconventional thing where the Go-On Wings kind of realize, the Go-Ongers they're kind of dumb and they're not really intelligent and they can't really think far ahead, but their impulsiveness and their ability to just kind of be in the moment, that's actually kind of a strength of theirs. That's where they have a big revelation, and they get motivated by this to join power with the Go-Ongers. And thanks to some adjustments that were made to the wing engines from Bomper, this allows the Go-Ongers and Go-On Wings to combine all their mechs. They're able to combine Engine-Oh, Gumburo, and Seikuu-Oh to form Engine-Oh G9 formation, which was called the Skyrev Megazord in Power Rangers RPM. Let's pause here real quick, guys. What do we think about Engine-Oh G9?
I have to say something first.
Go ahead.
I love the fact that the Go-Ongers were so dumb. It was hilarious. They're just kind of like, "Yay, Archimedes!" Wait, what's going on here? Oh, you're evil? How dare you lie to us? Kill him!
Yeah.
Like how they went to attack the monster, thinking that he was trying to kill Hiramechimedes, completely oblivious to the fact that they were in cahoots.
Yeah.
Also, I didn't know Engine-Oh can swim.
I don't think Engine-Oh knew it could swim.
Gumburo can swim too, so.
Okay, but Jumbo Whale's a literal whale.
I said Gumburo, the black and greens mech.
Oh no, I thought Nathan said Jumbo Whale.
No. The Jumbo Whale being able to swim would make sense.
Mm-hmm.
No, Gunborough can't swim because Corrugator can't swim. It'd be silly for an alligator to swim.
Yeah, okay, I guess. But there's no. Oh, and also, I mean, one of the arms is also an orca because Burka's an orca. So yeah, it's made of like two creatures. But...
Why didn't it swim?
Yeah, that's a good point. But there's no way you can get away with Engine-Oh doing that because it's made of a lion, a bird, and a bear. Yeah.
Well, you see, those three paid attention in swimming classes when they were young ensigns.
I guess. But
meanwhile,
what do we think about
Burka was too busy hanging out in Mexico/Italy/ some nondescript, not American country.
Yeah. But what do we think about Engine-Oh G9 real quick?
The same thing I feel about a lot of. I still say, I don't know if I said this earlier, but I'll definitely say this again when we get to G12. But I think Go-Ongers probably my favorite season when it comes to like the continuously growing like mech gimmick that Sentai has in like the modern era. It's a lot of Sentai, they look really unnecessary, or whatever the heck it was Kyoryugers was, where it's just a giant cannon of death. But like the G formations, there's just something about them that just works for me. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah.
Good.
So, yeah, it doesn't seem like it's going to get pretty ridiculous, and everyone knows if they've seen my review of the Go-Onger mechs on the Fandom Toy Box, it's going to start to get pretty ridiculous. But I mean, it's working to the point where it doesn't feel overcluttered. Like you basically just take G6 formation, you put Jumbo Whale on the back, and then you put Tortor and Jetros on the shoulders, and I mean that's fine. It's going to start to look like a real mess when we get to the next combination mech, but we'll get to that when we get to it.
I'm going to give points to the G9 and the G series in general, just for the fact that there is no mech so far that isn't kept separate from everything. Because that's something I don't like in any Sentai seasons, when you have these auxiliary mechs that you have to use in different configurations. You can't use them all at the same time.
Yeah.
And kind of bleeding back into the Boom Boonzer review that we just released, because it's still fresh in my mind. Same thing applies there with Sakito's mech not combining with Champion Boon. That's just, it could have combined.
Yeah, even look at the season that follows this. A large chunk of Samurai Ha-Oh is the origami or just his stupid mobile throne. Most of them don't even connect to Shinkano in the combination, but with G9 and G12, everything's attached to the base Engine-Oh in some way.
And I mean, I'm trying to think. When is the last time we've had all the mechs get together into one formation like that?
I mean, before Go-Onger, I mean, I guess if you want to be technical about it, maybe that. Although then again, I don't even like to count this as a final mech formation. The Stampede thing and Geki Ranger, but that was I don't.
That's
I don't
not
even like to count that.
No, as much as I like the Jungle Fury mechs,
is it that stupid Chi Palace from Die Ranger?
No, I don't think Die Ranger combined everything together. I think it's Zero Ranger, honestly.
Die Ranger's final mecha was literally every single mech stacked on top of each other. It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But was Wong Tiger a part of that combination?
Yeah, you put one tiger in the tiger formation inside
the tortoise.
Whatever the tortoise was called.
Really?
Yeah.
But that thing
Mighty Morphin.
Yeah, that thing is called the Flying Chi Palace or something, and it's probably the stupidest final mecha in Sentai.
But see,
even the audio drama is aware of how stupid that is, because I don't think they put Tor in the audio drama.
They didn't.
No, they didn't.
Tor did not appear in the audio drama.
No, he didn't.
So, if you want to count a real mech who is utilized well in the final form and has all the mechs come together, it's literally Zero Ranger.
But even then, did they have well, no. I think they put Dragon Caesar's tail on the back of King Brachion.
Yeah, he did.
Yes.
He did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ultimate Daijujin did have everything pieced together.
Yeah. And I mean, okay, let's say it didn't. Let's say an arm is missing or a tail is missing or whatever in a formation. That's still fine, but every mech should be represented in the final form.
Yeah, and
that kind of does happen in I forgot. In the Ninja, not the Ninja, no. Hurricane.
Whoa. You're gonna really call
Hurricaneser
the same as Ninja, Anthony? Come on.
No, I had the ninjas mixed up. It was only a mix up because due to the ninja aspect of it, because I was so used to calling it
not even
Ninja Storm,
dude. Because
Hurricaneser didn't do it.
Because the Blue Ranger's dolphin was completely absent from the
the tail was used, but not the dolphin. But in the final mech, the dolphin's completely out.
Wait, the tail's present?
Only with when they combine the two other mechs.
Oh, you mean the Hurricaners and the Go Riders mech?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But the dolphin is completely absent from the one where they combine all three of the main mechs, and then the one where they combine that with the mammoth and the Karakuri ball / power spheres.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's Go Kaiser, where all you do is you want to combine a Go Jujin and a Go Kaiser. Well, just take Go Jujin's arms, put them on Go Kaio, and what do you do with the rest of Go Jujin? Who cares? Just throw the whole damn thing away.
Well, and that's the thing, is I don't like when the mechs do that, because you gotta get creative or you don't have them. And that's my thing, is a lot of Sentai have mechs to have mechs, but they don't really think about how do we combine them into like some ultimate power type thing.
Yeah.
They're literally just plug and play or swapping out or whatever, and that's about it.
Yeah.
But Engine G9...
Did you add all the mechs in there?
Who?
Tokuger?
I think so. It's been a while since I've seen Tokuger, but I think
that's been 10 years. I don't remember. That's probably true, though. I think you're right.
I was just thinking of the O-Rangers is kind of the same way, but everything just kind of goes inside of Great Pyramid. I was like, but they're involved, but they're involved.
But even when they do that, it's either the mechs that make up O-Ranger Robo or O-Blocker. Like, you never have both the O-Blockers and the O-Ranger Robo in at the same time.
I mean, it does have O-Puncher in it, for what that's worth. So, yeah, now that you mention it, Engine OG-12 was probably the only time, one of the few instances where this is the case.
Yeah, with the... I mean, Go-Onger kind of started to do it where they had the main mech combined with all 5 of the auxiliary mechs, but then after that they introduced the 6th Ranger's mech, which itself is made of 3 mechs, and then they get this other battleship mech, and not all of those combined. So Go-Onger, I think, kind of laid the groundwork for something like Engine O, G9, and G12 to happen, but this is it coming full circle.
Oh yeah, Zoo-Oger does it too. They combine all their mechs too in Zoo-Oger.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Well, the Go-Onger mech sucks, so I'm not going to talk about that.
They do suck, but they split. It still counts though.
Yeah. But anyway, let's get back to this to the main plot here. So Yogo-Stein, he supposedly turns on Hiramechimedes at the beginning of this episode, but it was actually part of a trap to defeat the Go-On Wings. But of course, the Go-Ongers end up kind of foiling it by kind of by accident. But then with G9 formation, they defeat the latest Bankiju, and that leaves Hiramechimedes severely damaged, and he prepares for a final plan. And one last thing here, this sewing machine type Bankiju called Spinning Banki, it is voiced. This is another character voiced by Rika Matsumoto. She did a bunch of monsters in Turbo Ranger, Jetman, and Jew Ranger. She was a robotic assistant in a 5-man, and she's also voicing Boondorio Boonderis right now in Boom Boomger. And like I said in our Boom Boomger podcast, she sung the theme song for Kamen Rider Ryuki, and she also voiced Satoshi in Pokemon and Ryu Bakura in Yu-Gi-Oh! So yeah, that wraps up the information on this one. What do we think about 22 overall, guys?
I think this is, with this probably being like the quote unquote ending of the Go on Wings intro arc, because this is kind of the episode where, or one of the episodes where the Wings start to trust the Go-Ongers' methods and respect their methods. It's one of the best episodes of the season, just because the Go-Ongers are in. Yeah, the Go-Ongers are in character. The Wings are in character, and both sides' pros and cons are fully exposed in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
And it changed the dynamic between both sides heavily, thanks to Jumbo Whale. And this feels like a much better trade-off. And and we were just talking about this. We had a big tangent about Bune Violet in our last Boom Boonger podcast about how quickly the kind of like animosity between him and the Boom Boongers was, taken care of. But here, even though it's not done, this feels like a more well-earned resolution to the conflict.
Yeah, because I feel like the they're very well written, especially even in this instance, you obviously know that the Go on Wings obviously knew this was a trap from the jump. But what they didn't realize was that they were counting on them knowing it was a trap, so they could set a bigger trap to kind of keep them off guard.
Yeah.
Because Hiramechimedes explained this, oh yeah, I knew you guys knew it was a trap, but I wanted to make sure you guys knew it was a trap so I can set another trap just so that way y'all know. I guess he didn't count on the Go-Ongers being so pig-headed that they just came in support without actually realizing they were actually going to help the Go-On Wing.
And ironically, that kind of randomness plays into the next episode.
It does.
Yeah.
Very well.
You want to add anything, Riz?
Yeah, I was just waiting for these two to get their thoughts out because they were talking and I don't want to be the interrupting person there.
Oh, you're good. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I just want to echo Patrick. I think it's one of the better episodes in the season. Because this is what I was talking about in the last episode review, where Jumbo Whale is working to show them, hey, the wings are good at these things. Learn from the wings. Hey, wings, these guys are seemingly stupid, but if you really stop and pay attention to them, you're going to learn something useful that'll help you out. And so this is really, I know they don't fully become like one team after this, but I definitely do consider this like a turning point in terms of like respect and their capability to work together and be around each other without, hating each other's guts every single moment. Which, I mean, that will come back to play a role every now and then, like where somebody will hate somebody, but at that point it's kind of expected.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like the character developments here of getting them to all realize that the other side's also very, important, and there's something to learn from them, even if you don't like their technique.
And honestly, it's like the thing that makes me like this one is that it's one thing if Mew is saying this, because she's still probably just slightly less arrogant than her brother, but she's a bit more open-minded to the Go-Ongers. Like, she's a bit nicer to them. To hear Hiroto, someone who just doesn't care and, will just speak his mind so bluntly, to hear him say this stuff about how, yeah, the Go-Ongers are actually not that bad. There's something really powerful about that, honestly. That's what really made me like this episode. But yeah, I'm probably going to give this one a 9 out of 10 personally.
I think, man, I'm kind of going back and forth in my head on this one, because this one and the next episode, because the next episode really does bounce off this one really well, and I don't know which one of these two I want to give a 10 to.
Well,
Patrick, there is that meme you can use here. Why not both?
Why not both? Yeah, because this is, like you said, this is a two-parter. So yeah, why not? I'm just spoiler. I'm giving the next one a 10 also.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give it a 9, not because I think it deserves to be in a 10. It's gonna be a 9 because it's the formation is G9, so it makes sense to just call it this.
Hey, look, Nathan, I'm not the one making the jokes today.
That doesn't make me any happier.
Oh, do you want me to return to making them?
Anyway, let's move on to GP.
You said you're not happy, so I should make you happy with making more jokes. Am I right?
He has a point. He's got a point.
I just backed myself into a corner.
No. You backed yourself in between a rock and a hard place.
Exactly. But anyway, let's move on to GP 23.
Well, I guess I don't get to give my score then, do I?
Okay, go ahead. Give your score.
God, I'm sitting here waiting for my turn, and Nathan's running off without me. I see how it is. I'm going to give it a 9.
Cool.
Not for the reason Anthony gave, by the way. Just because I think this episode can't be a 10 fully without the next episode, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure.
Anyway, now we can move on to a GP23 Reckless Flash, which is final part of Hiramechimedes' last battle, where Hiramechimedes unleashes this ultimate plan, while Sosuke's trying to learn some stuff from Hiroto. So Hiroto defeats Hiramechimedes in one battle, and then he absorbs more of the Bikirium energy, which is the energy that the Gaiarc and Bankiju use to help them enlarge. And he takes more energy than usual to mutate to this final form, which they're calling Detrimentus, and he attempts to use this form to defeat the Go-Ongers. And at first it looks like he's too powerful, but then Hiroto decides that the only way that they can really defeat him is with the Go-Ongers, more impulsive and type of reckless nature. And this results in Sosuke getting into a one-on-one battle with Detrimides, and he defeats him using with the help of the Go-On Wings, because he takes Hiroto's rocket dagger. And with Detrimides having been defeated, the Go-Ongers get more respect for the Go-On Wings, but this also drives Yogo Stein really into a huge depression, and he vows vengeance on the Go-Ongers for killing Hiramechimedes. What do we think about this one, guys?
Well, obviously we all say 10 for this one, so 10 for all of us.
I want to start off by saying there's two moments in this episode that are connected that made both Sasuke and Hiroto's, as Riz would say, have their stocks go up. When Sasuke appears at their mansion and asks, "Hey, can I box?" He hits it, gets hit into the pool, which was good slapstick comedy, by the way. And when he's in the pool, Hiroto doesn't insult him. He says, "You need to read your opponent better." Like, he's giving him advice now, which is a lot better than he was before. So skip ahead to the fight where they're on the ground after they, point blank shot Hiramechimedes. Sasuke was actually, doing what Hiroto told him to and was trying to learn his patterns. But when Hiroto was like, Sasuke, my idea is not working this time. You do what you do now. Like, Hiroto was acknowledging that Sasuke's method was better and telling him to fight his way. And man, Sasuke had a stylish takedown. And I was like, the bouncing back and forth between those two characters in this episode was so good.
I know, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think Patrick just did the whole episode justice, honestly.
Dude, Patrick took everything I was going to say and said it better than I did. So here's my review of what this episode is. Go back like 2 minutes into this podcast and listen to Patrick again.
Same goes for me.
Yeah, he said it best.
Yeah.
And we already got 10s across the board. So
yeah.
Oh yeah.
So next episode.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to take everybody's thunder, but I'm glad we're all on the same page on why this episode was so good.
Yep.
I mean, you did steal all of our thunder, and Lionel's looking for it now.
Anyway, let's move on to GP24, First Smile. This is kind of a filler episode, although it's also kind of an epilogue to the previous one, sort of. But it's a Saki-centric episode where the Go-Ongers, as well as the Go-On-Wings, they're trapped in a haunted forest because Hiramechimedes' ghost is back with a vengeance. Hiramechimedes, he returns as a ghost. They're dubbing him Hiramechimedes. And he teams up with this demon from the samurai world named Baki. And he spends much of this episode just kind of haunting the Go-Ongers, mostly everybody except Saki, and just sending them through a bunch of like creepy shenanigans. And at the end of this episode, he merges with Baki, but he gets but they defeat him with Engine G9, and that results in Hiramechimedes being killed for good this time. We actually get a flashback about Saki's backstory here, where when she was a kid, she got lost in the forest, and then she encountered a boy who cheered her up and always taught her to keep smiling, which is where her catchphrase "smile, smile" comes from. And she encounters the boy here again. He's apparently the spirit of the forest, so that's pretty cool. And then the only other thing to note is that we got our first monster that was not adapted into RPM here. Baki, the demon from the samurai world and monster of the day, was not adapted into RPM. What do we think about this one, guys?
Someone else start.
I'll start. Fine. I say how it is. This episode has things I absolutely loved, and had one thing that I think a lot of the fandom take issue with. And I understand why, but I personally don't really care. It's good humor, but a lot of the fandom hate this episode because of the eye thing that Sosuke and a couple of others do at some point in the episode. Like, they put the fingers on the eyes and they look disturbing at some points, you know?
Mm.
And I've seen people complain about that. And to them, I just say, yeah, it is creepy. Yeah, it is a little disturbing. But this episode is literally a haunted theme episode. You're going to get stuff like that. And honestly, it's not even that bad. It could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
And I think they used some of the creepy shenanigans to their advantage, because like one moment where I was genuinely kind of scared was not scared. When I was laughing was when everybody except Saki runs into Hiroto with Mew, and they're just looking at the people like, you guys are stupid. Like, there's no such thing as ghosts. And then they turn around and then they see these ghosts. And then Hiroto is all like, okay, Mew, we should get going now. That was genuinely hilarious, seeing these two people who you would think are not scared, would be scared of ghosts, actually looking kind of scared.
Now, on the other hand, I think the Saki part of the episode was the grand part of it. It's really interesting, and I am actually kind of curious if there's going to be more to that story with the kid, because it just seems like it seems too good to be a one episode kind of thing. They should have more of this, but I know there isn't.
Well, but I think it's good to just have it in one episode to just show that like this boy motivated Saki into the type of person that she is today. I mean, it's charming enough, and I think it's okay to just have one dose of it.
No, but I think the spirit of the forest thing was kind of an interesting concept that I feel could have worked into the season more. If only because, you know, the Gaiarc are all about polluting the world, and here's the spirit of the forest. That could have played into the overarching themes a little bit more.
Yeah.
That is a good point that I didn't think about before.
You're welcome.
That's true.
So
you want to add anything, Patrick?
No, not really. I mean, I don't have much to say about this episode.
You better not, because you took all the thunder last time.
I mean, even going into this, I genuinely didn't really have anything to say.
Yeah, this was an okay episode. They it's really nice that they added, you know, a thing behind Saki's catchphrase, because, you know, they didn't have to do that, but I'm glad they did.
Yeah, and honestly, I want to give this at least a 9, because the creepy shenanigans were genuinely entertaining, and it gives Saki some character development. So it was a good episode all around. Like, I'm thinking probably a 9.
I'm going to go with 8.5 here, because while Saki got some good development, I think other characters have had better development stories thus far.
Yep.
So I don't want to cheapen them because of that.
Man, I'm going to give it an 8, mostly because so you're giving it an 8, Anthony?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm going to give it an 8, mostly. I'm going to dock points because I think Ghost Hiramechimedes was completely pointless.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair. All right, let's move on to the final episode of this batch, GP25, Goodbye Mother. It is a Renn-centric filler episode where the Go-Ongers, they go on summer break to a hotel resort owned by Renn's family, and it's there that the Gaiarc try to target an old Ojizo, sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, statue that was part of Ren's childhood, because it apparently holds like the spirit of some ancient Gaiarc family, and much of the episode is Renn trying to protect it because it's something that meant a lot to him as a kid, and then Hiroto is trying to destroy it, and Gunpei also kind of injects himself in a little bit by trying to help Renn protect it. And we find out in this episode that Renn lost his mother to illness when he was a kid. And he taught himself to make omelets while caring for her, because omelets was his mother's favorite food. and that's why he has this talent for making many different foods with eggs. And that's everything for this one. So thoughts on this one, guys?
Someone give my man a hug.
This episode was really, really sad.
Yeah.
It was very bad.
I didn't know how to even this episode broke my heart.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying. Give my boy Renn a hug. He needs
my boy Renn a hug and give the writers a freaking 10 out of 10 because you don't get to do that to my heart and not get a 10.
Yeah. Oh, and
it was so gut-wrenching. I was going to say real quick, it's so gut-wrenching to me seeing them, seeing Renn fight to keep the monster alive and, respect him because that was like his last connection to his mother and he couldn't understand that this is actually a Bankai in disguise or whatever. So it really hit.
Yep.
Go ahead, Nate.
Need Ninja Riders, come here real quick. You see this episode? This is how you should have written that stupid lawnmower episode.
Here we go.
How many season podcast series have we done where this episode's made a cameo?
A lawnmower episode?
Yeah, I swear that this is brought up in every series review we've done.
Because that lawnmower episode deserves it.
I need to watch that episode specifically just so I can understand what the heck the problem is.
Okay, you want to hear a fun story?
Get it?
So when I was at A-Kon many years ago with people that we know, like Ronald and Kara, we were talking about Super Sentai, and Kara had never seen anything to do with Super Sentai. And at the time, Go-Onger was the currently airing Sentai.
Yeah.
And so I decided to say, hey, Kara, let me show you the absolute worst of Sentai, and let me show you what I considered at the time the absolute weirdest of Sentai. I've since realized that I'm wrong because that's not the weirdest Sentai out there, but we'll get to that when we get to that. But Kara's reaction was, how did you stomach this lawnmower episode? And she didn't even see everything before it. Like, she didn't even know the characters or anything. She was like, this is so stupid.
Okay, which episode of Ninja is it?
It's like
I think it's
17 or 18.
Yeah.
17, 18?
Something like that.
All right.
Why I remember this to this day, I don't know. But
I'm morbidly curious because I don't plan on watching Ninja anytime soon. I just need to see this just so I can understand what the problem is. You guys have legitimately made me curious. This is like the 7th time this episode has been brought up in front of me. I've got to know.
You live in mourn, that's all I'm gonna tell you.
Patrick, we have a couple of running gags on Toku Secrets.
Mm-hmm.
We will always reference the lawnmower episode as the worst thing to ever come out of Sentai. We will always reference Gekuranger as the worst thing to come out of Sentai. We'll always reference Zero Ranger as being garbage for how they treated Dragon Caesar.
Mm-hmm.
You apparently hate King Ranger. I don't understand it yet, but you apparently hate King Ranger.
You'll see.
I'll see one day when we get there, but until then, who knows? What else? Oh, Anthony hates the guy from Time Ranger.
Oh yeah, that's not gonna change.
So we all have our thing that we just don't like, and we like to talk about over and over again just to remind people of how bad it was.
Yeah.
Also, as my friendly reminder for this podcast episode, John is a terrible character and needs to go away.
Him and Geki can join him for all I care.
But keep Dragon Caesar away. He can go. You know what, Patrick? I got an idea. Here's my idea. We grab Sion, we grab Hanto, we grab Goki, and we grab Dragon Caesar, and we all go get lunch together.
Are we gonna fit Dragon Caesar in front of the restaurant? We'll find a way.
Okay, you know what we'll do? We're gonna find a way to shrink him down to human size, like they did. I know they didn't do this on Zenkaiser, but we'll make him into a Zenkaiser-like robot.
Can we?
Oh,
give him
they
that,
did it in Ryu Soldier. I remember that.
Did what?
Shrink down one of the mechs. It was actually Red's mech in Ryu Soldier.
I mean, they did it to Gabatira, technically.
Yeah, I was about to say, can Dragon Caesar take Judenshu? We can give him the mini Tira.
There you go. Yeah, because that'd be the best lunch ever. We could all console Dragon Caesar for having a really crappy red for his leader.
Yeah. But yeah, this episode is just to get back to the episode. Yeah, it's easily a 10.
It's a 10. This is a 10.
Yeah,
because it's not just good for Ren's character, but like Gunpei is actually kind of cool here, and Hiruto. I mean, it's just cool seeing him interact with those two as well, and even the mother part of like implying that Renn is a mother. That should be weird, but it is kind of. But I like what they're doing. It works in the Go-Onger-esque way where he spent his whole life taking care of his mother, and he's finally now has a new family that he can take care of with the Go-Ongers. Like, it's the most Go-Onger way you could get away with something like that, but it works. And the only downside of this episode is that it's a vacation episode, and we see the Go-Ongers at the beach, but you don't give us any fan service with Saki or Mew. But yeah, well, I'll just
stop pointing, but it's fine.
I love that.
But see, that's why this episode stays a 10. They didn't detract for pointless fan service that we didn't really need.
Yeah, I know. I'm not going to make a big deal out of that. I was just looking for somebody.
It was more for humor. Like,
yeah, no, I know.
Yeah, and even then, I mean, fan service doesn't always make an episode good because they put fan service into the worst episode of Super Sentai ever. I hate that. Damn it! I hate that episode of G-Ranger so much. Damn it! But still, sorry about that, Riz.
The Dragon Caesar one, or was it something else? I can't remember. What was the episode
that one
again?
where those G-Ranger clones are going around and wrecking everything, and they have the episode where like May is taking a bath, and like I said, I know you want me to give you points for that episode, G-Ranger, but I'm not going to. You're still a -10.
Yeah.
Note to Rizwan for when he's editing this podcast: throw in a dragon dagger. Which is really appropriate.
There's like a saying that. So there's a saying I've been saying because like if something bad in a story, or like there's something that they try to hide it with fan service or something that of that nature, I will use my Itachi voice and I'll say that level of genjutsu doesn't work on me.
What doesn't work on me?
The genjutsu. No, it's a reference.
Oh, okay.
I am immune to your effects.
Yeah, pretty much.
Nice.
Well, anyway, we can move on to the before we wrap up this up, because we gave this episode 10s across the board. So, do we want to talk briefly? I mean, Hiramechimedes. I mean, spoiler. He's not going to be coming back. Do we want to give any more commentary on him for like the villain part of this podcast, real quick?
Hear ye, hear ye. We are all gathered here today to talk about our dearly departed villain, Archimedes, sometimes known as Hiramechimedes, sometimes known as whatever the hell Anthony calls him. And he was a good villain. He had a lot of fun with us trying to learn his name and say it correctly. The Go-Ongers even had trouble saying it correctly. But you dead. Sorry.
Yeah. He was here, Mechimedes. Now he's gone, a Mechimedes.
Okay, that was good.
Patrick, one of
Oh,
us.
so when
one
he
of
does
us.
it, it's fine, but when we do it, it's not humorous. We
Because I don't
see how
do
it
it
is.
very often.
They don't mean nothing.
Patrick, given to the dark side, bring us all your humor.
I was actually sitting on that joke all afternoon. I'm not joking with you guys.
Well, that's good. Well, anyway,
You pre-plan your jokes for this podcast? I never do that.
Sometimes I do if they're like really obvious to me.
Teach me your ways.
But anyway, with this new format that we're following with the podcast, we gave our opening tier rankings, and now that we have covered GP 25, that officially means that we are halfway through the series. We have 25 more, so now is the time for us to update our or just keep them the same if we don't need to change anything. In the case of two of these people, give our mid-season tier rankings for the Go-Ongers, and we can start with our favorite red here, Sosuke.
I like him a lot better than I remember liking him from my first watch through. Because I think we mentioned this during the first episode podcast where I mentioned I don't like reds like him with the high energy craziness, and the red that came before him was kind of like the egregious example of why I don't like this type of archetype for reds.
Yeah.
But Sasuke is he's different in that fact that he's hot-headed, but he's willing to learn. He's willing to adjust. And we saw that in this episode here, the episode where they killed Hiramechimedes, where he was actually taking Hiruto's advice. He was trying to better himself. And you can't say that about reds like this very often.
No, you can't.
And he's like high A for me right now.
And it honestly kind of helps that the show isn't trying to make, because one of the problems with those reds, and this does apply to the red that came before him too, unfortunately, is that they really tried to God mode these reds, where even though they're complete idiots and annoying characters, for some reason they're still more powerful than like all these than all the other people. Like they did it with John. With Daigo from Kyoryuger, maybe it was a little bit less egregious, but it was still there.
They didn't do that much of King.
They do it with Takaharu in Ni Ninja pretty badly.
Yeah.
And so with Sosuke, they're not trying to make him out to be more powerful than the other Go-Ongers. Like they're not God moding Sosuke in the slightest. And the funny thing is that I realize is that they don't do that with Hurricane Red either, even though Hurricane Red is also kind of an airhead type of red, to the point where I'm kind of realizing maybe the key to the airheaded Red Rangers in Sentai to make them likable is to just not God mode them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I didn't get that sensation when I was watching Hurricaneger when it came to him. Yeah, sure, he was bumbling, but he wasn't like egregiously bumbling. He actually got better as it improved. He's not Sosuke level, but he's still a decent character in his own right.
Yeah, sure, Sosuke does defeat Hiramechimedes, but there's a reason for that. He was training with Hiruto, and Hiruto realized that it takes skill sets that the Go-Onger use in order to defeat Hiramechimedes, but because he and Sosuke formed a bond, Sosuke was the one to do it. But you could have filled that role with Renn or Saki or Gunpei or Hanto, but they just give Sosuke the spotlight. But there's nothing that specifically says, all hail Sosuke, the god of the Go-Ongers. He is the only one who can defeat Hiramechimedes. There's none of that sentiment there. But yeah, I definitely agree that Sosuke at this point is high A tier, probably.
Yeah, he's an A tier for me as well. I think he was there last time too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Maybe B. I don't know where he was before, but he's definitely A tier right now.
And Anthony?
A tier.
Okay, let's move on to Blue, Renn.
So Renn, I think he's been a good character throughout, but I feel like I want more from him. But what I want more of him is, I don't know. But because
Yeah.
of that, I'm keeping him or leaving him at the B tier.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about him too. It's like there isn't anything inherently wrong with him as a character, but I want them to do more with him. But like Riz said, what is that more? Like there's something missing here, but it's not like egregiously obvious what that missing thing is.
Because
Right.
it can't be him not being useful, because he literally does like help out the team a lot, and especially helps
Mhm.
out with the combination of G6.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not even being useful. He has pretty good character development as of the last episode, and he's had some decent moments throughout. So it's not that. It's not that he's not really given focus, because he definitely gets focus. He also is integral to team activities.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, there are just going to be some characters who start and remain at B tier all throughout, and that's fine. It's still a
Yeah.
commendable rank. It's nothing to be mad
Yeah.
about. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just something that he has the potential to be on the level of people like Yanma, ISA, and Goki, but he just doesn't have it yet. And again, it's hard to describe what it is, but people who are listening to the podcast know what we're talking about.
I don't think he has. So I think it's unfair for us to say that he has the potential to be like Yanma, Zoe, or Goki,
Yeah, that's
or
a high
whoever.
bar.
I don't think that's a
Very
fair
high bar.
statement. I think if we're going to try and say he's something, he has the potential to be like one of the lower tier blues that are higher than him, like Ryunosuke. That's an example I can think of right away.
Yeah.
That Ryunosuke is not an S tier blue, but he's also a pretty good blue.
Yeah,
And I think Renn could strive for that level and hit it, but I wouldn't say he could hit Yanma, Goki, Zoe level. There's just no way.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
I would personally put him, I still think he's a good character, so I'm kind of iffy between, do I want to put him in the low A tier or high B? But I'm probably leaning more toward high B for now, just because, again, he just doesn't have the that to make him at least an A tier type of character.
Yeah, he's staying B for me. Anthony, what about you?
I think I'll give him a B as well.
Okay.
Like you guys said, there's nothing really inherently wrong with him. He is a good character. He's just maybe he's missing something. I don't know.
Yeah. So I'm guessing we're going to Saki next?
Yep. Our Smile Queen.
Smile.
So Saki has the same thing to a lesser degree that Nathan has for Kotaha. She's really cute, has a great personality, but she doesn't have any real moments like Himeno does, for example. I would say Domon, but Domon's a male yellow. I'm looking at the female yellows.
Yeah.
And she doesn't really have that like how Himeno or Luca or
Kotoha.
Kotaha's not an S tier in my book, but I get where you're coming from. But Kotaha's the thing I'm comparing her to.
I think, and I was about to jump on the comparing her to Kotaha wagon, is because they're very similar, but Saki is just missing that emotional depth that Kotaha had.
Yeah, Kotaha definitely has emotional depth to her.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Saki has gotten there yet.
Mm-mm.
And that's what I was kind of saying earlier. I understand you guys are not really wanting more of the forest spirit thing, but a continuous story building around that while also building into the policing thematics would have been really awesome here to help Saki out as well.
Yeah.
But I think the closest comparison I can make is Kotaha, because a lot of the reason that we think she's an S tier and let's be honest about it, guys, is yes, he has some emotional depth to her, but also she's doggone cute. Like that's just the thing about her.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I kind of give you some flack about that, Nate, when you say that Kotoha belongs up there with Himeno and the others, because on virtue of cuteness, yeah, but in virtue of everything else, Saki, Kotoha, they all kind of fall in that same kind of range to me in terms of like what they do. So Saki is the same, but the reason Kotoha ranks higher, if I remember correctly, I gave Kotoha an A rank at the end.
Yeah.
And that's mainly because of the emotional baggage she had at the end with everything going on in her life.
Yeah.
But Saki is just now starting to scratch that surface with the last episode with the forest stuff. Prior to that, we didn't really get a lot. We had like the thing about her wanting to start a restaurant and all that, but doesn't really do much to her yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say when it comes to female yellows, I mean, we're going to see some other pretty cool female yellows, but like if we're just comparing them, like I would say that Himeno is definitely in a league of her own, with Luca kind of trailing a little bit behind her. And I don't know, we're going to have to see some other ones, because the only other female yellow I can we did a Tokuger yellow a little while ago, but like we have Ron from Geki Ranger. She's a D or F tier character, honestly. But
like most of her cast.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would personally put Kotoha in S, but I can still see why you want to put her in A. For Saki, I'm thinking low A tier personally for her.
I think high B would be a little bit more fitting.
I agree with that. High B is
because I think that it factor is what would separate her B from A, and Kotoha has the it factor.
And this goes into a larger conversation I think we're going to have at the finale of this thing. But I'll plan to see it here. We can revisit it when we get to the finale. I think for me, given, we have not completed Boom Boom because it's not out completely in anywhere. And where I am right now in Go-Ongers, I think it's very obvious at this point that Boom Boomser has the it that we're looking for. They got it. But Go-Ongers doesn't necessarily have it. So a lot of their characters end up being in that B tier, not because they're bad, not because they're amazing, just because they're middle of the pack, hanging out, doing their own thing. They're great characters. They're enjoyable, but they don't bring that extra oomph that makes them A tier, S tier level to me.
And that is the one thing I remember from my initial thoughts when watching the season, was that outside of Sasuke, Hiruto, and Mew, this cast was very safe. And it's not that that's bad, because what I mean by safe is that there's a lot of instances where these characters don't have anything more to them than what you see on the surface per se most of the time.
Yeah.
Like the Boom Boomser characters have a lot of layers. The Shinkenger characters have a lot of layers. The Time Ranger characters have a lot of layers. The Ginga Man cast has a lot of layers. Yeah. But like these characters are good characters, but they're simple.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No, not at all. I mean, we'll get to them when we get to them at the end, but I see what you're saying, and I agree with that. But anyone else want to talk about Saki before we move on to Hanto?
I think I've made my everything I need to say about her.
So Hanto
for green.
I have,
and let's try to compare him to. I don't know. It's kind of complicated on how we rank Hanto and Gunpei because they're both black and green. So maybe we just rank them both in like that level where like the black and green was.
That's fine. That's what I was going to do anyway.
Okay.
But my initial thoughts on Hanto were he's definitely a bro like Goki or Sion or whoever, but he's I'll be honest with you. Like in a year, if we come back to this like in a year from now, we're talking about like other Sentais in a year on the podcast. Patrick and I might still have the Bros Club thing going where we're talking about like how we got this clubhouse with Sion and Goki, and we're just gonna all bro out together and have coffee and watch anime or whatever and just have a fun time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be honest with you, Hanto belongs in that club, but he'll be the lesser remembered one of the club, in my opinion. Like, he's a really cool character, but he's also a bit more forgettable in my opinion compared to the other ones in that category.
Yeah, I see what you mean. He's a very just like kind-hearted dude who's just doing his thing. Again,
Like
another safe character. Like, there's nothing wrong with him.
No, nothing at all. He did the job. He did it well.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But I mean, okay, so I'm thinking back to Hanto right now. Please help me if I forgot something. But the only thing that he had like character development wise I can really think is like interesting to even mention 25 episodes in was that first real character development story he had with the job and the girlfriend hunt and all that stuff. Like that's kind of his character.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't really grown. He hasn't really had any backstory. At least Saki had something given to her to work off of, but Hanto hasn't really been given that yet.
Yeah.
Would you throw him in the B tier also?
Yeah, he's in B tier definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Hanto, like he has had some good moments. I'm not gonna like discredit him for his moments with Gunpei, where he tries to give Gunpei that high rank in that app or whatever, which I still don't understand that freaking app, but whatever. But that's the only other standout thing that he's really done that really stands out 25 episodes in. Sure, he's had other moments where he's done some nice stuff, but nothing that I'm like, oh, hey, remember that?
Yeah, it's kind of ironic how Hanto and Gunpei are the two most forgettable characters in this Sentai, considering their counterparts in RPM are the only two notable characters in RPM that
You're not
are
wrong
pretty
there.
much worth anything.
Yeah.
I mean,
Ziggy is indeed a character.
Yeah.
I mean, so going back to the trope that Riz doesn't remember anything to do with RPM, the only thing I do remember is that Ziggy is really funny. That's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ziggy is one of the best.
That's one of the things that actually matters. So you're.
I mean, Dylan's a great character too, but
he's fantastic.
Yeah.
But I don't remember much about Dylan outside of the Andros Carone copy paste that they did.
Yeah, but
he's basically that loner bad boy type of vibe. That's basically what his character was.
But that's all I remember about him is he's just a loner bad boy.
Yeah.
Like I don't remember
I
any
think with Summer and that too, that was it.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
But yeah, Hanto pretty much 100%. Like, I wanted to kind of make the case for Saki with A tier, but there's nothing I could do with Hanto. He's a B tier.
Yeah.
Like, he is, like, I don't know if I want to say high or low. He just belongs in B tier specifically. No real high or low.
I mean, honestly, Nate, the way you're saying that and the way we've been talking, he is straight middle B tier.
Yeah, that's fair.
I agree with that.
Yeah. So, moving on to something that's a bit more divisive among us, I think, Gunpei.
Yeah, we've had a handful of conversations about this guy already. He's easily the weakest character in this season.
Definitely.
Which is ironic, given Dylan's apparently one of the best characters in all of Korea, and according to some people.
Because Dylan, for what it's worth with RPM story, he is the main character of RPM.
Yeah.
But Gunpei, we've had our conversations about him, but Hiruto's introduction just really eradicated whatever role he was supposed to have.
Yeah, no, he's useless now. And so I know Anthony had a talk in an earlier podcast where I said, hey, I'm giving him a D for his rank, with the expectation that by the end of the season, he will rise to C. Sorry, Anthony,
Nah.
he's still in the D tier.
Oh no, I actually agree with you now. Like, I don't know why I was even trying to defend that, because I was just like, after that one episode, he was trying to be all like goofy with his shirt off. I'm like, I was rooting for you, man. I defended you. You're making me look bad. So no, I take back what I said.
Well, even then,
Good.
he kind of retroactively makes him worse.
Yeah.
So
No, Gunpei, he just... I don't think the writers knew what they wanted to do with him.
no.
That's what I'm saying. And then that one episode where like, and I think it was the same episode we had a discussion about how like we both had a different interpretation of how we felt, because I did not like how Gunpei was getting on the Go-Ongers because of his mess up with, trying to help about the Go-On wings and stuff. I didn't like how he was talking to them as if it was their fault. But I'm like, dude, you could have just said, "Hey, I don't want to help them. Let me go. Why don't you go and help them, Hanto, or something?"
No, I mean, I keep, I'm not quite done with the season yet. I have a couple more to go, but I keep waiting for that moment where he does something interesting, make him like Takeru, where I'm like, oh, hey, here's the thing that makes him go from being an annoyingly terrible character to being pretty dang awesome. But it's not happening. I don't see it happening.
Yeah.
No.
So I think he's just stuck in D tier.
Frankly, I think
yeah.
I kind of want to. I feel half tempted to kind of put him in as a C tier though, just kind of because, honestly, at this point, I feel, and some Sentais have this, and say what you will about it. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the trope. Like, Gunpei seems to be like this Sentai's butt monkey, I guess you could say, because like Patrick was saying like 2 podcasts ago that like he's very similar to kind of like how post-movie SpongeBob treats Squidward, like, ha ha, him being miserable is funny, let's laugh at that, ha 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 ha. And there's way too much of that on Gunpei, and on one hand I feel sorry for him, but on the other hand that does kind of make him a weak character, honestly.
I mean, but you're not
I
saying
did
anything
feel bad for him, but I don't anymore.
But you're not saying anything that really elevates him from a D tier to a C tier. You're kind of giving the same arguments we are.
Wait, did you say C or D or C?
Okay, so you're saying that you think Gunpei is a C tier, right?
I thought you guys said B tier. Sorry about that.
No, we've been saying D tier for Gunpei all this time. D.
Okay, sorry. I misheard. I would agree with D tier, man.
Yeah, no, because C tier just doesn't. Because the way you're arguing him for, if you were arguing him for C tier, your argument has to be more substantial than what you've already said for him, Nate. Because there's nothing really substantial for him that you've said.
It also doesn't help that like the male Black Ranger characters. At least from the seasons I've seen, it's a pretty top heavy list.
Yeah.
Because what was his name from King Oger again?
Kaguraki.
Kaguraki, Jiraiya, which is Ninja Black, Mega Black from Mega Ranger. Like they're all like upper A to S tier characters. And
I'm actually kind of curious how y'all will feel about Inu Brother. Inu Brother is from Dawn Brothers. He's the he's the dog character. He's like the animated CGI character that was like
the Sonic character
based on a dog. Yeah.
Yeah, he looks like a Sonic character.
If you even watch his story, he has a very interesting story. That's really, but I'm not sure how y'all will feel about him though as a character, because he has a good backstory and has like deep moments. I'm just curious how that's going to translate when you guys watch it, as opposed to when I watched it for the first time.
Like, we were even making this comparison earlier about Gunpei compared to Ian, Kyoryu Black. Ian's a much better character because he has that same kind of suaveness to him, but it's treated with respect instead of as a punchline.
And plus, he has that rivalry with Agaron, so there's that.
Honestly, Sentai Black might be the one color that I would say you're either hot or you're cold, because like we have Black Condor. Okay, that was actually pretty good, Anthony.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're either hot or you're
we have
cold.
Black
like,
Condor.
Yeah, Black Condor. Kyoryu Black, I think, was pretty good. Mega Black was pretty good. Boken Black, in my opinion, was great. Ninja Black, and Abar Black too. But then there's ones that are not just bad, but they're forgettable bad. Like 5 Black, Black Turbo. Don't even remember his name, honestly.
Dang.
Mammoth Ranger.
Yeah, Mammoth Ranger.
You're just calling him Mammoth Ranger because you don't like Zero Ranger.
Yes. That's all the reason I need.
Gao Black. We don't even know his name. We don't even know what his real name is until like halfway through the series. Gao Black.
So just like his Wild Force.
Wait, so this is like
controversy about him being a pervert.
This is like his Wild Force counterpart.
Yeah.
I like how we said the same thing for that, Patrick.
Because literally, what was his name again? I don't know.
Danny.
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't there like controversy with Go-On Black's actor at one point?
Yeah, there was.
I remember that now.
And again, with Black Bison from Live Man, again, I don't remember him. So I would say that Gunpei is probably the one where I could half put him in between because with Black, you're either S/A tier or you're F tier, honestly, with the hot and cold. So the fact that I can't put Gunpei in F tier would mean that he's probably the one Black that's kind of in between, but not by much, honestly.
Well,
but I'm curious though, because we all know about that he's actually the first, I guess, cop Black Ranger in Sentai, because the second one is our boy Joe. Now, how do we feel about? Because we obviously love Joe too, but how do we compare? Because they're totally different characters, but they still have a similar backstory of them being, officers of law and all that. How do we feel about Joe as comparison? How we feel about Gunpei?
Dude, Joe's an amazing character. Gunpei's not. Sorry.
Okay.
I mean, the reason why it works is just because they make Joe out to be just this overall nice, well-meaning cop, and that's simple, but they write him pretty good, and they give him episodes to just show that he's a genuinely good person.
And even, okay, so sifting the Boom Boons a little bit more for a second to answer Anthony's grander point, even episodes where he's not the main focus, like episode 34, 35, whatever, I don't remember exactly right now. It's been a day. But whenever they realized Bundario used to be part of the Hasurian clan, Joe and Mira were among the first to vocally go and say, hold up, Bundario is our friend. We're not going to abandon him. And that shows a lot of strength for Joe's character.
They were like legit, like dang, this team keeps a lot of secrets. We still care about you. We don't get wrong. We're just upset that we didn't tell us. That's all we're upset about.
And that's Joe's character. He's like, they're both genuinely loving people and they're loyal people. Those are things that I can say that, make sense about the character. And, it's a good thing to have. That I think Joe like falls in my A tier.
Yeah, I feel like if this happened to the Go-Ongers, I feel like Gunpei would take it the hardest, and he wouldn't be so forgiving about it. He'd be like, "What? You lied to us?" I'm like, "Dude, stop it."
And then he would trip over a watermelon immediately afterward for no reason.
Yeah,
he would.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, is that they didn't give Gunpei a consistent personality.
Yeah.
He goes from being a hard-ass cop with no humor to him to being all slapstick comedy and being, basically whatever. What do you call it, Nate? The Squidward of the group?
Yeah.
Squidward of the group.
Butt monkey, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't like that word. I don't like that phrase.
The butt of the joke. The butt of the joke.
Yeah.
The butt of the joke. But not in a fun way.
Yeah, exactly. So Gunpei just didn't really have a consistency, and even then, like when he is being the butt of the joke, there are times when he's legitimately decent. Like he has some okay moments, but then there are other times I'm like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So he's just all over the place. He has no consistency. He's not a great character. Come at me, bro.
Yeah, he,
Now,
like I said,
don't get me wrong.
Sentai
When I
Black
was,
for the most. Go ahead, Anthony.
I'm sorry. No, when I asked that question earlier, Riz, I wasn't asking that because like that's how I felt. I was more or less seeing, like, kind of asking for the audience members who might ask that question.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, I get it.
Because I
But
personally do not like Gunpei at all. Like he kind of soured my taste for him when he literally made a fool of himself. When I low key defended him in that very episode we talked about earlier, like in the earlier podcast.
Yeah, and
yeah,
like I
makes
was
sense.
saying earlier, there might be one or two exceptions, but for the most part, like I said with Sentai Black Rangers, you're either red hot or you're freezing cold. And ironically enough, that even applies to some of the Black Sixth Rangers too. Like Juo the World and Black Knight, they're both red hot. I know a lot of people don't like Juo the World, but I actually really like him. And then you have King
He grew on me.
Ranger, who's freezing cold. And yeah, Gunpei, I guess, is one exception where he's not freezing cold, but he's also not exactly a warm type of character either. If people who are listening can kind of get the analogy I'm trying to make here. But yeah, let's move on. I know they've only been around for a little bit, but they're still here. So yeah, do we want to briefly talk about the Go On Wings, Hiroto and Mew?
We need
So
to.
I'm going to start off by saying Mew is my favorite character to cast so far. C is easily S tier to me. And it asked me my opinion on just the first 25 episodes. He just was high A, low S tier for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This will change later, but for right now, high A, low S.
Yeah, I mean, I made this point last time. I was like, what makes a good Sixth Ranger? It's the ones that shake up the dynamic of a season. And I remember one of the thoughts that stuck with me from all these years after watching Go-Onger the first time was how much I like these two. And now that I have context from other seasons, man, these guys are like, I like we said, they're not on par with like Black Knight or Spider Kimono or, who's the other Sixth Ranger we were talking about? So there was another one. Spider Kimonos and Black Knight were the two that were like high on the list. I think, because, and out of all the other seasons I've seen that we haven't reviewed on this podcast, I think these two might be, if I want to group them together, which I think is a reasonable thing to do, these might be my third favorite Sixth Rangers.
Mine too.
What's your first two and in what order?
Jeremy and Hyuga.
Okay. Yeah, I've been debating from where I am right now that I think these two would fall in my second favorite Sixth Ranger slot if you put them both together behind Jeremy.
Understandable. Yeah, like these two and Hyuga, you can kind of bounce them back and forth. There's no real right or wrong answer with them. Yeah.
No, because Hyuga was a great character. Don't get me wrong, but there's just something to this dynamic of the two of them that just makes me want to rank them higher.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, like Hiroto and Sasuke's back and forth is some of the best stuff this season has produced.
Yeah.
Right.
If I'm looking at them for like their individual colors, I still need to see Kara Major to know what Kara May Silver is all about. But if I'm looking at like the Silver Rangers, okay, Boken Silver would still be number one for me for selfish reasons, but I would still say that Mew is probably, honestly, if somebody were to tell me that she's the best 6 Silver Ranger in Sentai, I wouldn't be mad at you. I could, if you call her better than Boken Silver, I'm cool with that, honestly. And, you know, we'll see what the other guys think of when we eventually do Bokenger. But as far as Gold is concerned, I still need to see Ryu Soldier, although I don't hear good things about Ryu So Gold. And I still need to see the Sixth Rangers and Dawn Brothers and Zen Kaiger. But as far as Gold is concerned, honestly, the only Gold Ranger I think that might challenge Hiroto is Genta, but even then, I still think that Hiroto has a good lead.
No.
As much as I love Genta, Hiroto is better than him.
Hiroto is miles ahead of Genta, sorry. But
yeah,
the other thing I'm going to say is I think the Gold and Zen Kaiser is a fun character, but I don't think he's in that same tier. That makes sense.
I mean, maybe Maji Shine, although we need to see Maji Ranger again in order for me to, because it's been a while since I've seen Maji Ranger, so I would need to see that again to really get that. But given what I know and what I remember, and especially with some of the stuff that I've seen recently, like with Star Ninja, and I'm currently watching Q Ranger, so I've seen Tenbin Gold and Naga and Hebetsukai, whatever, Silver. I would say that Hiroto and Mew are definitely top 5, and in Hiroto's case, probably number 1 in their respective Sixth Ranger colors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the only other Silvers I can compare Mew to that I've seen would be Mega Silver and Goka. And yes, yeah. I mean, we literally in the last Boom Boonger podcast, we had a big rant about Mega Silver, and yeah, he's probably the most replaceable Sixth Ranger in Sentai. And then Gokai Silver, who he's a fun character, but there's nothing to him. So. Yeah.
But yeah, I think both Hiroto and Mew, I mean, the writers are going to have to actively try to tear them down from like SG for me. And
I think even individually,
they're not going to accomplish that.
I think even individually they're S tier, but together they're absolutely S tier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that wraps up the tier rankings. Do we have anything else we want to add before we wrap up here, gentlemen?
Nope.
Miyu is still life. It was waifu for laifu, so that's all I want to say.
All I heard was, hang on, Anthony. All I heard is meowfu.
Meowfu.
Oh Lord. Well. Anyway, guys, back home, that wraps up this podcast. We thank you guys so much for taking the time to listen. Little bit of an update on where we're going to be going. We're going to be taking a look at for our 6th podcast. We're going to be taking a look at GPs 26 through 30. That'll be our next podcast, and then after that, we will be taking a brief detour where we're going to be taking a look at the Go-Onger movie. Normally we don't do that, but there's apparently 2 episodes that directly tie into the movie, and it's pretty short, so we thought just why not? We might as well just do that. So, yeah, we definitely got a lot of fun stuff planned for you, and that's not going to be the last Sentai movie that we're going to be taking a look at, because we are going to be taking a look at some of the crossovers after we're done with Go-Onger, so definitely look forward to that. But with that said, we will see you guys next time when we return to Go-Onger once again. Bye for now. If you enjoyed listening to the Toku Secrets Podcast, please check us out at animesecrets.org and follow us on all our social media pages such as Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And also feel free to check out our other podcasts, including Anime Declassified and the Jedi Squadron. You can also leave us any feedback you'd like to offer us directly on our website. If you're listening to this on Spotify or iTunes, we thank you so much, and please leave us a rating out of 5 stars. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel if you're not already subscribed, and leave any comments down below, as we love to take the time to read comments left on our channel and give our fans, shout-outs. If you have any seasons of Super Sentai, Power Rangers, or other tokusatsu shows that you'd like for us to check out, please don't hesitate to say so in your feedback.
With all that said, we thank you so much for taking the time to listen to our podcast, and we will see you next time as we continue our never-ending journey through the world of tokusatsu. But until that time, you all stay safe, we love you, and may the power protect you.